risk of sounding hyperbolic, I believe the future of Seattle is at stake this fall. 7 out of 9 seats on the city council are up for grabs. And next Tuesday, voters are going to be deciding which 2 candidates will advance to the primary. So this week, we've been introducing you to the candidates running to represent downtown Seattle, Queen Anne, and parts of Magnolia. Yesterday, you heard from the incumbent, Andrew Lewis. And right now, we welcome one of his challengers, Olga Sagan, who owns Piroshky Piroshky. She joins us live on the Gee Ursula Show. Good morning, Olga.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
Thank you for joining us. So in your campaign literature, you say that if people are happy with the current state of downtown, they should vote for the incumbent. But if they want to see change, they should vote for you. What specifically would you do differently from what Councilman Andrew Lewis has done in these past 4 years?
Well, I think there was a lot to unpack there, so I know how much time we have. But
Not that much, but how about give us the highlights?
We can go back to the vote about a month, little over a month ago for using drugs outside, which is inappropriate and unacceptable for our downtown. Again, I have a very different perspective than Andrew or some other people who are running for this position. Being a woman in downtown, it is still not safe. And it's not just still safe, it is not safe. So I'm not sure how are we living in the greatest country in the world, and I'm afraid to go out in the evening with my daughters. So I think that's number one priority for me is making sure it is safe for everyone in downtown Seattle. And, I come from a business background, so I don't mind paying taxes. I don't mind investing in the community, but I just don't see rate of return of my investment as a resident and as a business owner. All I see are businesses closing. I see people struggling on the street. So I'm not sure where the money is going.
Olga, totally understand you saying that you're not understanding where the money is going. I was reading about you recently, and I saw that you have not voted in the last 10 municipal elections. Why?
That's a very good question. You know what? I made a mistake by not voting, and what I'm showing an example of it's never too late. And I'll tell you why. Because it's probably I was, a happy go-around business owner and doing my thing, and it really did not affect me in some way, shape, or form. I thought it wasn't affecting me because focusing on the business, selling piroshkis, making piroshkis, and then it really did affect me. And I realized the mistake I have made by not voting, and now I'm just not just voting, I'm running for a seat. And thank you for asking that. A year ago, I was one of the people who were about to move from Seattle because I was so desperate and I was so angry and I was so frustrated. It wasn't COVID, it was the state of downtown. And I had pretty much a break meltdown at home and saying, hey, this city gave me everything. This city gave my business everything, gave my family everything. The citizens of the city and city of Seattle made Piroshky Piroshky and me who we are today. So I cannot run away from it. I don't want to run away from it. I want to stay, and I want to see if I can make a difference and turn things around, because what I'm seeing outside is not right. And me running a business is not good enough. So what else can I do to pay for my previous mistakes of not voting and not being a citizen that I should be? I should have been. How can I move forward? When you make a mistake, it's all about, hey, I made a mistake. How do I move forward and correct that mistake? So this is my way of doing it, staying here and fighting for our downtown.
Okay, so let's talk some specifics of what you would do to make it safer downtown. What do you think the city council should be doing to address the homelessness crisis?
Thank you so much for asking this question. I think we should start by not calling it a homelessness crisis, but calling it mental illness and drug addiction, because I believe that a lot of homelessness are caused by a mental illness and drug addiction. So, and we are, in the last 3 years, our homelessness budget, because we still call it homelessness, went from $100 million to $200 million to $380 million this year. And we're still not seeing the results. And let's look at San Francisco, which their homelessness budget right now is $1 billion, and you still have businesses living downtown. Businesses who are integral to the revenue of downtown are living downtown. So I feel we need to put emphasis on drug addiction and mental illness, and we really need to assess all the programs we have been investing our tax dollars into. We can start this Just Care program. We can look into Unified Care program. We can look into We Deliver Care program and really see the results of those programs and really understand boots on the ground. What are they delivering? Because our homelessness based on Seattle.gov data went up by 6% in the last 3 years. But our budget went up by 400% in the last 3 years. So I just don't see logic behind that.
Olga, you mentioned that our homelessness crisis is happens because of our mental health and drug problems. I myself was homeless in 2009, and I didn't have a mental health problem, and I didn't have a drug problem. What do you say to those out here that just can't flat out afford to live because of cost of living?
And you know what? You are one of many people I have met, not majority, but the minority of people who are struggling on the street. So another problem, thank you for bringing it up, another problem with homelessness, and I'll give you an example. I have this volunteer, her name is Vivi, and she doesn't have a drug problem, she doesn't have mental illness, she's a homeless person who cannot find a job. The reason she cannot find a job is because the shelters and facilities we have available are very, very restrictive. For example, she needs to be checked in by 7 p.m. She works in the restaurant industry. From the restaurant industry, some restaurants cannot hire a cook that needs to be at home by 7 p.m. So there is affordability issue. There is a problem with our systems on homelessness shelters that are available, that they're just not in touch with the reality of things that are the reality of people who want to put their work out there and go to work and earn money. So I think that's one big problem. Another big problem, yes, affordability is a problem in Seattle, but we also have to look that we have 30,000 available homes right now in Seattle. So how do we take that 30,000 available apartments or condos, and how do we incentivize landlords to create some sort of, we talked about vacancy tax or something similar to that, to bring the prices down so people can afford living in downtown?
Olga, we have maybe one more minute left, so it'll have to be quick. But as you know, there are still many empty storefronts in downtown Seattle. As a council member, if you are elected, what would you be advocating to make downtown Seattle more attractive to new business?
I think for me, the storefronts are easy. We have to look at our grandfather in statue and go back to 2018 or 2019 and just say, hey, whatever was there in 2018, 2019, whatever business was in that place, we're okay with them coming back without investing $500,000 into improvements. And again, for me, it's very important to look at hard data, like you had Andrew Lewis yesterday, and I was listening to his interview. Thank you for having him. And he was not using correct hard data that is available. He talked about the community court and a lot of things that are just not realistic. Community court graduation was 22%. And things like that. So we really need to go beyond what politicians are saying and look up at the numbers ourselves and look for the facts.
Olga, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Okay, tomorrow we are going to be speaking with Bob Kettle. And that is a candidate who has been endorsed by the Seattle Times. Yeah, I'm going to tell you what, Joe is producing this week. Joe lives in this particular district. So does Mike Lewis, G. So I think they're trying to figure out their ballot right now.
Undecided still, undecided.
Okay. I'm going to make sure that we're going to continue to interview. And I think it would be a disservice if I just weigh in on my opinion. I'm just going to ask questions. That's all I'm going to do during this entire time for the battle for District 7.